Anyone.
Yes or no?
Anyone who stands with this flag is a friend of mine. Because you know what?
Tommy Robinson.
I'll tell you what. This flag is a declaration of our love for Britain. It's a gesture.
I agree,
of
but you're
respect.
ignoring the question. Would you stand alongside Tommy Robinson in the campaign?
Somebody's going around putting up these flags in this way, these crosses of St. George. You know it's aggressive.
Flag wars up and down the United Kingdom as the mainstream media reveal their true colours as we raise the colours. He Speaks Freely received this video at 5:30 a.m. and she posted, "The government justify the state of our country time and time again by saying that we have limited resources. Yet they seem to have the resources to take down harmless Union Jack flags. The establishment of this country is afraid of patriotism. They are afraid of you." This is what went down.
Now you can go on camera. Who's proud to say they're a traitor? Traitors. Taking our flags down, scumbags. With a little private escort, private security van with them. Well done, mate. Remember where you was. Remember your job. Disgusting.
I know they're doing their job, but shame on them. Seriously, just don't do it. And what's so interesting is that there is this big push by the left in this country to very much link the Union Jack, link the St. George's flag with the far right and with racism. But what we need to see is people who are saying to hell with that. So I give serious credit to Andrew Rosendale, the first Conservative MP who has proudly embraced this campaign, writing, "Raise the colours. No council or local authority should be removing our national flag, Union Jack and Cross of St. George from lampposts and public sites that have been raised by the people. Our national flags belong to everyone and should be flown with pride everywhere. Woke politicians, bureaucrats and officials cannot be allowed to cancel the patriotism of local people. We have a 100% commitment that they will not remove any Union Jack and St. George's Cross displayed in our borough." But I now want to show you what the mainstream media are doing because it's so important that we are awake to this. So Tommy Robinson pointed out that the Labour writer Sebastian Salek tried to get the brilliant patriot, really good guy, Amal Bogle, to throw him under the bus on GB News, but Aman refuses. And he adds, "On September the 13th, we unite the kingdom. Be good to see you there, Aman. Hit me up in the DMs." And it was shameful what went on here. And I actually think it was shameful that Patrick Christie's the host didn't step in and watch.
Would you?
Anyone.
Yes or no?
Anyone who stands with this flag is a friend of mine. Because you know what?
Tommy Robinson.
I'll tell you what. This flag is a declaration of our love for Britain. It's a gesture.
I agree,
of
but you're
respect.
ignoring the question. Would you stand alongside Tommy Robinson in any campaign?
Well, if
It's a yes or a no.
Of course I would. If he's
You would
standing,
stand alongside Tommy Robinson.
well, if he's defending this flag, this glorious Union flag, why wouldn't
People
I?
are willing to see through certain other things historically and have a look at the situation in Britain today and say, well, actually, if it comes down to standing by someone with the flag, then that's something, isn't it?
But how absolutely pathetic that this is allowed to go on. It was actually, believe it or not, even worse on the Jeremy Vine show, where Dame Andrea Jenkins, the Reform UK mayor, was putting up a good argument, but Kevin Maguire, who's on the left, really showed his true colours. And again, his true colours are that he hates our beautiful flag. Big news, Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
To have a voice, and don't forget about us. We're sick of being back in the queue. I think that's why.
If you get something called Operation Raise the Colours, that sounds very military. It sounds very aggressive. And why are they doing it? So if you want flags on your town halls, you can make your choices.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll make your choices. I'll probably make different choices to you on the flags.
No.
But if you can't go around just sticking what you like on a lamppost. And if you're going out and putting the flag of St. George, why are you doing it? I bet you there's an aggression in this campaign, which I think we should beware of.
But look at the aggression of the pro-Palestinian lobby.
Yeah, that's why it was. That's why they were taken down.
But do you know? I mean, look. When I was the MP for Morley, they had one of the largest St George's celebration in the country. Even the BBC said, "Oh, is it the most patriotic town?" And it was actually amazing, that celebration, bringing everyone together and being proud to be English. And so I see nothing wrong with that. But to me, I think that this is an underlying protest movement because they feel that they're left out, forgotten about.
Migrants into Britain are amongst the most patriotic people in Britain. I saw that with the coronation. Look, I'm a Republican. It wasn't for me. Didn't take part, but I saw Bengalis and others taking part in that. Somebody's going around putting up these flags in this way, these crosses of St. George. You know it's aggressive.
How pathetic is that man? There is nothing aggressive about waving our flag, and you certainly would not describe another country expressing their patriotism as aggressive. But this is what the left are doing. I mean, Mehdi Hassan, that hard left nut job, actually described Jonathan Gullis as a racist. He wrote racism, no other word for this, after this exchange on Good Morning Britain.
I'm sick to the back teeth of seeing the Palestine flags all over the place in cities like even Stoke-on-Trent, but parts of Birmingham as well that I've driven through.
Why are you sick to the back teeth of seeing the Palestine?
Because this is not Palestine. This is the United Kingdom, and in this country, our flag should be flying, and our flag only.
In Birmingham, we celebrate St Patrick's Day. They have a parade, and the Irish flag gets waved.
People can wave flags if they want, but on flag poles, on a lamppost, if people want to show their patriotism, then that's absolutely fine with me. But I don't want to see.
So when we had the Ukraine, we had the Ukraine flag a lot. Were you sick to death of that as well?
Well, I think that's an entirely separate argument at the time of the conflict.
Oh, this is from the same Adil Ray, who said that when he drove into Birmingham and saw all of the flags up on the lampposts, he immediately thought of the far right. But there are question marks within Reform UK today over this Raise the Colours campaign. Because as Dr. Helen Ingram posted on X, Reform Councillor and Cabinet Minister for Highways has said that he will be seeking criminal damages for the St George's crosses being painted on roundabouts in Bromsgrove. And this is Councillor Carl Perks of Reform UK, who said every Englishman who flies St George's flags does so with pride. Family, communities and country is one of our biggest policies as Reform UK. We stand by that. There are many ways that people can show their pride by flying the St George's flag. However, he says, what I cannot condone are acts of vandalism, costing taxpayers money. This is exactly what the illegal painting of red crosses on local roundabouts will do. This act of vandalism will cost our county council money to rectify. As the Cabinet Member for Highways, I will be seeking criminal damages so that every other taxpayer in the county does not pay for this. And indeed, the Daily Telegraph confirmed that police are now investigating the St George's flag painted on roundabouts. And I do have to say, this has always been something I've warned of when it comes to Reform UK. Why is it that the moment they're close to power, they seem to throw their principles out the window? There's also a row going on between the Conservatives and Reform UK over who is doing the best job in terms of the migrant hotels. Proud Tory Kevin Edgar posted, Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch went to Epping to speak to residents. Conservative Robert Jenrick went to Epping to speak to residents. Labour didn't. Reform didn't. Nigel Farage didn't. However, Jamie McIver, the local Reform councillor who did a brilliant job in Epping, said, because all of Reform UK's councillors in Epping Folder were standing shoulder to shoulder with our residents at every protest, not watching from the live stream. Nigel Farage is busy preparing for government. But it is interesting, isn't it? Because surely we either embrace the flag in this campaign or we don't. And I'm loving, by the way, the residents who are now quite carefully, and maybe the Reform leader will be so angry about this, but I love it, painting St. George's flags in potholes with the hope that it means the council will fix them faster. And what does this campaign really mean? It's worth thinking about. And I was very taken by this post from our friend Bernie Spoffworth, host of If This Is True, a regular here on Outspoken, who wrote, "No, nothing exposes the liberal metropolitan mindset more than snaring at ordinary British people. Ordinary people who pay their taxes, help at school fetes, jump, start a neighbour's car and chat at the bins. They're the ones who get up at 5:30 a.m. to be at work by 8. They come back in every shade, black, brown, white, even ginger, but live under one flag, the Union Jack. Yet turn on the BBC or look at The Guardian and you'd think they were dirt. Too rough, too regional, too uncultured, wrong clothes, wrong hair, wrong opinions, the far right. To the self-anointed good people, you know the type, university, never leavers, committee lovers, early retired civil servants, the media set and professional agitators. These communities are an embarrassment. Ordinary voices are laughed at, their concerns dismissed as fascist. But the tide is turning. Ordinary people are reclaiming their flag, their pubs, their towns, and their culture. The bullies have lost. They just don't realise it yet. As Plato warned, the price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. And it is glorious, a true coming together of the ordinary majority. But first, if you're anything like me, you've spent so much time trying to find the perfect skincare treatments for your face, only to realise you've been neglecting the skin on your neck. But as I've got older, I know that's a massive oversight because the neck is on display all the time, yet lots of folk just treat it as an afterthought in their routine. And I know I'd fallen into that trap. And what's been interesting actually is since starting this campaign with Go Pure, I've spoken to many in our Outspoken audience, many women who tell me that they know the skin on their neck is thinner, more delicate and less oily than facial skin, and they need specialized care, but they just don't know where to get it from. And so I have to say, that is why Go Pure is the answer. It is an absolutely beautiful product. This is the Go Pure Tighten and Lift Neck Cream. And it's transforming the lives and necks of women and some men too, all across the globe. So let me tell you about this gorgeous product because I saw a noticeable difference within just weeks. Oh, and by the way, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure if you use the code DAN, that's D-A-N, at checkout today. So just head to gopure.com/Dan, use code DAN, and you're all set. But what's so amazing about Go Pure is that its proprietary firming complex is actually designed to visibly firm and smooth the skin on your neck and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. In a consumer study, 100% of users said their skin looked more supple, 97% noticed a firmer appearance. Indeed, Go Pure's full line of science-backed skin and body care have delivered for over 100,000 real women with real results. It's dermatologist recommended, cruelty-free, plus with over 1 million jars sold. I don't think you can say this is a beauty secret anymore, right? Because it's not a secret, if you get what I'm saying. So, tighten, lift, and restore elasticity in your neck because your skincare routine shouldn't stop at your jawline. And for that limited time, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure using the code DAN, D-A-N, at checkout. Just head to gopure.com/Dan, use the code DAN, and you are all set. Quick favor too, after you buy, when they ask you where you heard about Go Pure, make sure you tell them it was after watching Outspoken. But now, back to the show. Lucy, the Raise the Colours campaign. Why is the left-wing MSM so determined to link our Union Jack, to link our St. George's flag to racism and an invisible far right?
Well, the answer is very simple. It's that they're trying to silence us and trying to cancel us, but they won't succeed because, as we know, our country is literally in a state of emergency right now. So when you're in a state of emergency, you have to take action that may be radical as opposed to sort of, normal times. The reason we have to raise our flags is because we have had enough. We are saying, this is our country. You cannot keep dumping people from the third world into our country. Enough is enough. They need to go. And anyone that says they are offended by our flag, quite frankly, they shouldn't be in this country then.
100%. And Roger, it was bizarre because Kevin Maguire, who, in the past you would have thought was maybe like not a hard lefty, sort of slightly sane, but saying that there's something aggressive about our flag.
I mean, there's not so queer as folk. I mean, people in that particular demographic are really saying some very stupid things. But I think there's two groundswells going on. One, the Epping swell of spirit and patriotism, and the other that's not being mentioned so much. I do hear it from a lot of people, but it's not been written about much except by Dominic Moen, the former editor of your old paper, The Sun. And it's about the Oasis concert and the feelings that came after that. And that, there were no new songs. Everything was the 90s. And all of that.
And there was no wokeness.
All of that spread out, no wokeness, and all of that spread out overnight, like some technological miracle across the country, and everybody everywhere was talking about it. And it took people, because they're desperate for it, I think, it took people back to the 90s when, if I can quote Mr. Mon, they gave us a timely reminder of an epoch when this country, still had a sense of swagger, confidence, and bloody-minded resilience, also of safety and security, where it wasn't afraid of its own shadow, and before it marched to the beat of political correctness. The tough-talking Gallaghers and their forthright opinions could not be further from our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, a squeaky, risk-averse lawyer being roughed up on the world stage. Perhaps Britain needs to return to its rock and roll spirit if it is to survive this joyless, technocratic government. Forget politicians, Dan. It's rock and roll stars who are going to save us.
I love that theory. Lucy White, do you think that this Oasis reunion may have actually helped lead to the patriotism that we're seeing with the raising the colours and that we're seeing outside the Bell Hotel in Epping?
May have caused Epping.
Yeah. Could it have
Yeah,
caused it?
absolutely. I think it's a fantastic reminder. I think the issue what we have in this country is we're very nostalgic. We look back on the old times and say, "Oh, I remember when my country was so nice. There was, not very much crime. We had a very much homogenous society, and now we are just divided with people that share nothing with us, not even the same languages or culture, etc. with us." So I think the Oasis concert was certainly a time of nostalgia. And I just say, bring it back. Let's have more, please. More and more from the 90s and beyond.
Do you know, Roger, I honestly, I was born in 83, so I view myself as a child of the 90s. And so often I just desperately long to get in a time machine and go back to 1997, where the world just felt perfect and we were living, to an extent, an innocent life. I mean, when you think of the fact that September 11, 2001 certainly changed the trajectory of a young man like my life, because all of a sudden it was like the age of innocence was over. And unfortunately, I think that's why we're never going to go back. But also, You look at those videos from the 90s and you just cannot deny, Roger, our streets were very, very different.
Everything was different, absolutely. And it's that sense of security and safety and a certain bit of British braggadocio in a very British way, very polite. But we were Britain. We asserted ourselves, and we didn't have people walking around with clipboards checking boxes and asking bloody stupid questions and talking about all the woke things and political. I mean, all of this nonsense. If you brought somebody who'd been in a coma since then back today, I think they'd say, "Put me back in that coma, please."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put me in that coma, Lucy. You want to be in that coma, Lucy?
What I find so crazy is, I grew up watching Little Britain, which was absolutely hilarious. And if you told me, fast forward sort of 10, 15 years and it will be banned. And above all, it was the BBC themselves that aired Little Britain. You would just say, what on earth has come to this world where we can't even watch a comedy show anymore? And, obviously Matt Lucas and David Walliams, they were cancelled for what I see is absolute brilliant TV and absolute genius content.
And you know what? When I say I need a time machine to take me back to 1997, actually, do you know what? I'm going to say 1996, because we've got to be aware of what happened in 1997. And even though Tony Blair cashed in on what was called Britannia, and at the time was viewed as a positive reforming force, actually, so much of what we are facing right now, today, started with the reforms of Tony Blair in 1997. And a lot of senior conservatives, and I don't mean conservatives with a big C, by the way, I mean conservatives with a small c, who I speak to and speak of a Great Repeal Act, talk about reversing policies back to 1996.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.